Hey, what's up everybody? Hope you're having a great day. And today I wanted to talk about the things you should ask your real estate agent before you hire them. So the other day, Samantha was listening to me talk to some clients and she was like, man, that's a really good video and you should really put this out here on YouTube. So hopefully it will save somebody some money and just help them with the transaction. So in this video, I want to talk about the main things, about 7 or 8 things that will save you money, save you hassle and heartache, because there's some really bad agents out there and there's some really good ones. And as a good real estate agent, I wanted to put it on camera in case anybody has any questions. I put it out there in the best form I possibly can think of, and that's me talking it and just having a conversation. So we're gonna have a conversation for the next however long it takes until I feel like you have enough knowledge to go forth and conquer your real estate endeavors. So let's get to it. So let's say you are hunting for a real estate agent. You know you want to buy a house or you want to buy investment properties or whatever, and you just, how do I conduct the interview for finding an agent? So here's what I would do if I was you, with all the experience I've had both as an investor, as a flipper, as a wholesaler, as a YouTuber, as a real estate agent that's now still doing deals and, you know, like has a good thought process of what the other side should be thinking. So like the first thing I want you to do when you go to hire somebody is ask their experience, okay? And talk it, you know, like back in the day when you had a teacher and you took a test and you passed the test, but then the student couldn't ever actually talk about what he just took the test on and verbally talk about the things he was tested on, if that makes any sense. So just have a conversation about real estate with them and ask them, hey, what's your experience? What kind of niches do you really sell? Have you ever been an investor? Have you ever really crawled under a house? Have you been dirty? Have you been on a roof? One thing I really want to hammer down here is it's not how many years you've been in the business. Listen, real estate has changed a ton just in the last 2 years. I mean, we've had COVID explode prices. We've had renters do all kinds of forgiveness, forbearance, insurance companies changing a lot, DocuSign coming into the game, which everything is done by DocuSign now. Property appraisers going all digital. Everything has changed in the last 2 to 5 years. So the agent out there that leads the game with, hey, I've been doing this 20 years, it should not be years. It should be how many transactions have you done? I know a lot of agents that do two deals a year. And they did one last year, and they did one the year before that, and it happened to be their aunt or their mom or their sister or their cousin, not actually at the day-to-day grind of a real estate agent. They don't sell enough in one neighborhood to know what the prices are. They don't have a lot of the things I'm going to talk about in this video. So ask them, how many transactions have you done this year? How many did you do last year? Then you could say, well, how long have you been doing it? But I know a lot of agents that it's their first or second year and they did 50 transactions last year, or some did 70, 80 transactions, which is mind-boggling. And that's more than most of these agents did in their 20 years. You know, if you did 3 a year for, 20 years, you did 60 transactions and the game's changed a bunch. So I just want that to be one of the first ones you ask. Oh, and I want to say how many on the buy side and how many on the sell side, because there's totally 2 different frames of mind from a buy side agent to a sell side agent. Some just hang out in listing houses and some work with buyers, which is a lot of running and gunning and a lot of negotiating. And I'm going to get to that a little more in the next section. So the next one is, how are you going to sell my house? If you're a selling agent, if you're on the sell side, you're a seller's agent, listing agent, I would say, Jack, how are you going to sell my house? And they should be able to verbally tell you their plan, okay? Like for me, so this is going to be the marketing plan. Jack, how are you going to sell my house? I would say, well, the first thing I'm going to do I'm going to make a really good listing for the MLS, because that is the main hub of selling a property. All the agents are going to see it. It's going to attach to Zillow and most of the different websites on the internet, realtor.com, etc., because it literally just draws from the MLS, places it on Zillow. Okay, it's pretty much automatic. The next is, hey, I have one of the largest social media platforms on the Gulf Coast. Everybody is going to see it the moment I post it. I'm connected to every major agent on the Gulf Coast, both on Facebook, Instagram, social media, YouTube. Okay, everybody knows I'm a buying agent, I'm a selling agent, and everybody knows I'm a real estate agent. Okay, my network is strong and I have a lot of contacts for people moving to the area and a large buyers list. They should be able to speak that very truthfully and straightforward. And if you don't believe them, you can look it up. Like for me, you can look up my Facebook page, my realtor page, my Instagram page, my YouTube page. You can look up all these things and how I've marketed myself, because I believe if a good agent can't market themselves, they cannot market your property. So just remember that. If you look up an agent, if you Google them and they're a ghost, your property is going to be a ghost too. Just think about that, because being a good real estate agent is about being seen, being in the public, and letting everybody know you've got a house to buy or sell, and that is how you're successful. So if they can't market themselves and they're a ghost, all they're going to do is type your stuff into the MLS, sit it up there, and pray somebody calls them. That's not selling a property. Selling a property is being active in your networking group to move a property fast. Some agents can do it better than others, and so I just want that to be kind of out there for everybody. And when I mentioned the network, that is contractors, roofers, buyers, sellers, other real estate agents, because honestly, if you've got a good communication process with other agents that have good buyers lists, you can move a property usually pretty fast. You're literally getting on the horn, calling every one of them to ask them, hey, I've got this property, it's listed, what do you think? You got a buyer, getting them to get their client over there fast and turning it around. Your net worth is your network, and that's what I really want to say here is ask them about their network. Ask them if there is a cleaning person that if you need it, you could supply it. Because as a real estate agent, you are somebody that can pull every trick in the book to get something done. Okay, so here's where I want to talk about pricing. If you are going to list your house with an agent and you don't know the price, I know the first thing you're going to do is go look at the Zillow's estimate. That is not your price, but I know that's what you're going to do. So go ahead and do that and at least kind of get an idea ballpark of where you're at. Go on Realtor.com. Go on every major internet site you have access to and get an idea. So when you go to talk to the agent, you have a running idea, a little knowledge of what's the conversation is about to be done. Look at what was sold in your area, preferably within that little small grid section of your small neighborhood. Know what's been bought, sold, just kind of like look around. And then when you start talking to the agent, there's going to be a question there. A smart agent is going to say, what do you think your house is worth? Because that way he knows kind of about where to place the pin. I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's what the negotiation is going to kind of hinge on. So maybe you be the first one to ask the agent that. I actually had a deal with a out-of-state client, which was a real estate agent, and she pulled that on me one day, and I thought it was really interesting. And I realized that she already had a number. You just had to be in the ballpark so she knew what you were talking, or so she knew you knew what you were talking about, and that's what I'm talking about here. Ask them, hey, why do you think my house is worth that? Prove it to me. And they should be able to take their CMA. They should be able to take what's been sold, what's listed, come up with a price per square foot for your house and say, hey, this is a supporting argument for my price. And then you negotiate from there, because sometimes things you CMA with the market moving the way it is now, interest rates fluctuating as much as it is, and inventory coming on all the time. The idea of it's only worth what somebody's willing to pay for is the deciding factor. So like, let's say you have a house that the CMA says it's worth X, but it's got old wiring, it's got old piping, it's got renovation things that are different. Like in Navy Point, every house is different, so this one's a little different than that one, and that's where experience comes into play and transactions in that area comes into play, if that makes sense. Sometimes you got to fluctuate the price and you got to come to a meeting in the middle, and then that's where the agent earns his or her money by getting out there and beating the bushes. Okay, so I really want to hammer this down and this is one of the most frustrating parts of being a real estate agent, is when you go against another agent that has no idea about the basic working functions of a house, okay? So I want to talk about housing knowledge and knowledge of the niche right here. I don't know how many agents I've gone up against that the other agent didn't even know the basic functions of the house, okay? So when you get under contract, you're going to have a home inspection. The home inspection is going to come back, and you're going to have to sit down and read it, right? So the client is going to get a home inspection. And for a lot of the clients that don't know much about real estate, they're going to say, hey, Jack, what do you think? Well, you're not a home inspector, so technically you're not allowed to say much about the house. But in confidence, your client is really going to want to know what you think about the house, okay? And then, whether it's wiring, whether it's a framing issue, whether it's a structural issue, they're going to say, hey, well, after you've seen hundreds of these, what do you think? What would you do, Jack? And so you're going to have to kind of have a conversation there, real estate agent to client, and you're going to have to say, okay, well, you can't just say, see those wires? Well, you're going to have to know what's the difference between 12 2-wire, 12 3-wire, 10 3-wire. You're going to have to know the difference in breaker boxes and breakers and what a breaker is. And you're going to have to know the difference in plumbing and because you're going to see all kinds of weird stuff on inspection reports. And you got to have a running knowledge of the housework. I made a post the other day, and I don't know how many agents I saw in Pensacola were commenting that they didn't know how a toilet worked. They didn't know how a stove worked. They didn't know how an AC worked. They didn't know how to put 2 wires together in a junction box. I myself have flipped and renovated houses. I've done everything on my own house, my own properties, and I've pulled my permits and I passed the code, and I had a running knowledge on it, and I can speak the running knowledge. Preface it, you got to let your client know, hey, I'm not a home inspector. Hey, I'm not a licensed electrician, but you see this 12 gauge wire here, or you see this 12 2 wire, or you see this breaker over here. We need to have an electrician check this out because probably X, Y, and Z. Electrician comes in, you're right, have it remedied. Or if you see something on an inspection and it's in the back right corner of a floor joist and it looks like it's cracked, have the right contractor come and give you a quote for that. And it's all about knowing the right things, because this is the process that can cost you a lot of money as a property owner that is selling it, and your real estate agent doesn't know how to speak it to the other real estate agent. Conversations go something like this: hey, Jack, I see on this inspection report you've got this live wire coming across the attic hatch. And I'm like, well, we can just have the electrician staple that to one of the studs, because that's how wires are run in the attic. We're just going to move it aside and staple it, no problem. It's a 2-second fix instead of, oh my gosh, we got to cut the wire and reroute it and have an electrician do this and it's going to be $1,000. No, there's not an issue. It was just the wire wasn't stapled up properly. We'll staple it back. Or, hey, there is a missing breaker in this breaker box. Electrician said missing breaker. Okay, we'll just have them put a breaker in and fill the void, fill the space. Cool. Hey, this roof needs to be replaced. And you're like, no, this roof's only 14 years old. Well, yeah, but it's almost 15. No, it's 14. The insurance company's going to close that transaction, and then, hey, well, what if we do a credit for this and we just meet in the middle and we get this transaction done instead of canceling the contract and then going back on the market, and your client might not be able to do that. So there's always ways of two agents finding the issue and talking about it, and that's where they make their money. That is by finding a common ground between two parties and saying, how can we agree to get this transaction done? Some real estate agents, and the bad ones, will just be so argumentative that the deal will never get done because they are combative and they don't know that we have to meet in the middle and we have to find a common ground and everybody be happy and we get the transaction done. They will just blow things out of proportion, both on the buy side and the sell side, to where nobody wants to talk to each other, and it goes back on the market, and then you've got holding costs and you've got repair costs, and when the transaction could have been mitigated very easily. Okay, so this wouldn't be complete without talking about bad agents. Okay, I've had some really bad agents, and I've seen a lot of agents underprice houses tremendously and then not know it. More on the older agent side, those 20-year agents. They don't know how to use the resources around them. They don't know how to use the MLS properly. They don't know how to look at all the different websites, and they don't really know. They just rely on their old school methods of what the neighborhood used to be like. So there's a big difference between pre-COVID and post-COVID. The prices have gone up so much, and I remember seeing real estate agents, they're like, oh, that neighborhood doesn't sell for that. And I'm like, no, it is. Maybe 20 years ago it didn't sell for that, but now it is. So you need to take that out of your mind. We're not in that same environment. We're in this environment. And, I've seen agents box out contracts, not give them to their clients when they had an offer. Like recently, I had a client, we put in an offer with an escalation clause, which is basically saying that we will match a higher bid in $10,000 increments up to a certain amount. That way, there's not a back and forth counter offering when there's a lot of multiple offers coming in. And she basically just let it wait and let it wait and let it wait, trying to get another offer to make that escalation clause come into effect, but she never gave it to her clients. And then they will just tell you that they're going to accept it when you get it to them, but they wait you out 3 days trying to either double side the deal or trying to wait until they get that escalation clause. So what could happen there is your client has an offer that's at ask, that is what they want, and then they sit on it for 2 days. The agent doesn't transfer it, which they're supposed to the client, and tell them, and then the client on the buyer's agent withdraws the contract, and you're left without the offer that you would have accepted, and you could have moved on with your life and got the amount of money you wanted, but your agent lost the deal for you. So be very very aware, and keep a tight rein on your real estate agent and ask them continuously for updates. Another one is that they don't show you all the offers. So they only show you the one that they just double-sided. And be very, very careful with an agent that double-sides a deal. If they say, hey, I got this offer, and I'm like, well, are there any other offers? Make sure there's no other offers that they're hiding from you or being slow on, because what can wind up happening, and I saw this not too long ago, is that let's say on $1 million house, the buyer or the seller's agent, that's the listing agent, double sides the deal, and then you go to the closing table and you close, and 4 months later, you get a letter in the mail saying, hey, I overbid your selling price by, $100,000, and why wasn't my offer accepted? And then you wind up finding out that the agent swept aside that contract and only submitted to you the one he had double-sided. So what wound up happening is both the sellers of the property and the buyers, the owners and the buyers' side, sued the real estate agent and pretty much crushed them because he was not honest and forthcoming in putting over the offer as soon as he got it. Like, he basically lied to the client. And integrity is everything in the real estate community. And I could go on for another 20 minutes on the bad things I've seen agents do. And most of them are sleight of hand stuff. So keep a very good rein on your real estate agent. Check their character. And if you feel funny about it, question them on it, and don't be afraid to fire them. And that goes the same thing if you're a real estate agent for your client. If they're lying to you about the disclosures of the property or anything that has to do with the safe and soundness of a house, be very wary of taking that deal, because it's going to fall in your lap as the real estate agent and you're going to be held responsible. Also, make sure there's no crazy liens. Ask for those up front. I had one the other day with a massive IRS lien on it he didn't tell me about. If they're married or divorced, make sure that is known, because it's going to be found by the title company. Make sure that any title issues are set up front. Make sure that there's not any crazy quit claim deeds down the road, which is the title company's problem. But ask these questions up front. Make sure that everybody knows up front and is being honest with each other, because as a real estate agent, that one will hurt you when you find out on closing day that your client wasn't honest with you, or that there's some bad money, or that the money is coming from some bad accounts. That's all the title company, but you still need to know. And if you find these things out, if you find something illegal out, it is your duty to either bow out or move along, or say, hey, I can't be a part of that transaction, because it will come back to get you. They will find out. So in the last part, I want to talk about commission, okay? I just had a conversation about the commission with the client, so I'm just going to kind of relay how this works. So most agents will usually charge between, here in Pensacola, well, between 5-6%, okay? I think in the state of Florida, the most is 7%. And so you'll say, oh, that's so much. Well, let me break down how that works, okay? Like usually for me, I'll charge 5.5% on a very common, easy, well, not easy, but a very common transaction of selling a single family house. 3% for me as the listing agent and 2.5% for the buyer's agent, right? Well, it would be like, Jack, that's not fair. Well, for me, you have to market it. You have to take pictures. You have to keep it clean. You have to constantly going by to make sure the inspectors didn't leave the water running. You've got to make sure nobody broke into the house. You've got to talk to the neighbors. You've got to do a lot of things. Your sign out front. You've got to make sure the grass is cut. You got to make sure the pool's clean. There's a lot of time spent on, as a seller's agent, on the property itself. And now on the buyer side, the 2.5% is for them to facilitate bringing the client to the table, the buyer to the table. They've got to handle the transaction, schedule inspections. They literally are responsible for everything coming on the property, making sure doors are shut, making sure nothing has happened to the property. They are responsible for whoever they bring on the property. They have to make sure the addendums are correct, and if there's an extension, and then they're on the line for that. And sometimes they have to pay earnest money back when there's a mistake. You have to hire your transaction coordinator. You have to do a lot of things that create expenses. You also got to pay taxes. You got to pay your lockbox. Here, it's the par lockbox is like $100 a month. You got to pay for your MLS dues. You got to pay your broker 20%. You got to pay taxes on everything, sales tax, on down the line. So the commission is what keeps all that going. And I would say this as to a client: hey, you get what you pay for. If you want great agents to work hard, you pay them, and they're worth every dime, because they're willing to go above and beyond, and they'll probably get more for your house than a 1% lister that listed your house for 10% less, closing the property quicker, but you trying to save a penny lost you major dollars, because a good agent would have got more money with a better network, and it works hard. They'll answer your call at midnight. They'll be up there at 6 o'clock in the morning. They'll run that 75 miles to open a house for you, or make sure it's clean and done right with their team, and have other agents that work with them or for them to make sure whatever needs to be done is done. And that's what paying somebody their worth is for, okay? I see this so much. You see a 2% agent, a 1% agent, they won't answer the phone, they're not going to email you back, they're late on everything, and that's what you paid for. You might have lost 20% on the sale because you've got this agent over here that is rude or won't answer the phone, won't answer your call, and you're lost in the sauce for months with holding costs stacking up. It is very important. You pay them their worth, list it for a little more, whatever you got to do, but you get what you pay for. Okay, so in conclusion, to tell you what I just told you is make sure you check out their experience. Look up their present online. Ask them how they're going to have access to your house and keep it secure and safe. Ask them about their commission, and they should be able to talk to you about it, and they should be able to have a good rapport with you about it. Good agent's not going to come down on their price, and if they do, question that. Why are you so willing to give up your commission, a 1% or a 2% down from 5 or 6%? Like what makes you so willing to do that? Are you that hard up for clients? Are you struggling? Most good agents are going to be like, no, sorry, this is my number. If not, I'll move on to the next deal, because they've been burned in the past and they have to make up for those times. And they also want to go home to their kids. They also want to, have a life. And some of them work hard and they're very proud about what they do. And they should be compensated because they want to be top tier, and that's what top tier agents do. They know their worth, and that just goes for the same for contractors, mechanics, anybody that works hard knows their worth. And if they don't know their worth, then question that. Please, please, please ask them about their knowledge on the house. Do they know anything about how a roof works, or plumbing, or understand the working parts? Have a list of questions to ask them. And if it's okay for them not to know how gas works, but to understand that there's gas plumbing in the house and there's a meter, there's a meter outside, and if the gas company might need access, a common working knowledge of a house, just like if you were hiring a mechanic and they didn't know what a tire tool was. You know what I mean? Some agents are really experienced and they can tell you anything about a house, but and every house is different. So if it's a house on the beach, well, don't quiz them about a trailer. For me, I bought code books, and I have them on my computer that I can look it up pretty fast and know what to tell the electrician when I call for a repair on Monday morning after a listing. And last but not least, ask them how they're going to market the house, and ask them how they're going to find you that house you're looking for. Because as a buyer's agent, it is tough, because you got to look at a lot of houses, and a lot of times the client doesn't know what they really want. So if you're the client, make sure you know what kind of house you want, and you know that is probable in that area, because not every part of the country has that same 3-2 ranch. So that's it, everybody. I hope this helps. I've rambled for a really long time, but I really wanted to put this out there to maybe help somebody from hiring a really bad agent that makes them have a really bad time. And, don't be afraid to fire an agent. And agents, don't be afraid to fire your clients, because it is a mutual respect here, is a working environment. So comment down below if you've got any questions or something to add. And I know somebody's going to disagree with me, but that's cool too. So just comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See ya.